Hi, I'm Adam. Welcome back to Godot Game Lab. This is the Godot component course. What is this course about? It is about teaching you component-based game dev. But what is a component? It's basically an equivalent of a node in Godot, which does one thing. A typical example, a node that I'm sure you know by now, is the Sprite2D node, right? What is that one thing that a Sprite2D node can do? It can display an image on the screen, right? Or if we think about the Area 2D node, what is it about? Detecting other areas entering and leaving it based on a collision shape. All the components we make will be split into different categories such as 2D, AI, UI, General, and TILEMAP. What's the point of making these components? Components save you time by providing reusable and cross-project building blocks. You can use a Sprite2D in any of your games, right? This will be true to all of the components we make in this course. How is this course different from the usual Godot Game Lab content? By nature, component tutorials are not sequential. They don't depend on each other. So if you're only interested in implementing a hitbox hurtbox system or a drag and drop component or an animation sequencer, you can cherry pick those tutorials and use them for your game. Now the next question is, who can take this course? Beginners and intermediate game devs, I believe, can both benefit from taking this course. Now there are different ways to use this course for your own use cases. The number one version is going all in with the course, and you're not just learning how to do an X and Y component, but you'll also learn to think in components, how to design and implement and think about component-based systems. If you don't care about designing your own components, you can still learn how to implement a specific component. So for example, if you need a Wrap2D component for your game, you can watch that tutorial. And if you're interested in the implementation as well, not just the end result, then you can use that part of the tutorial where we actually do the coding. And you can also use it as kind of a plugin or a resource. You can just download the components and use them in your projects without watching the video at all. Just get the code from the GitHub repo, it's open source anyway, use it for your project and you can move on with developing your game. All of those are legit use cases for the course, I believe. One quick disclaimer is that this course will not explain the basics of programming or using Godot. If you are just getting started with Godot, game dev, or programming in general, I'll link some excellent free resources in the description. The question you might be asking is, no more big projects like the Slay the Spire or the Auto Battler course? I know my audience. I'm well aware that most of my audience prefer longer, higher scope content over isolated tutorials. So to kind of get the best of both worlds, I decided to take planned detours after finishing a subset of components in this course. These projects will be smaller and just gameplay loop demos basically, nowhere near the scope and complexity of my existing courses. But still you can see how you utilize components to build larger systems and full gameplay loops basically. For example, we will make a couch multiplayer game, a single screen archery game, when the toolbox is filled up with enough components. This will show you how to build bigger systems and even full gameplay loops by smacking together components like Lego pieces. And of course, there will be multiple resources available for the course. There will be a GitHub repository with all the source code. Link in the description. Also, there will be an online demo and browser for the components that we make during the course. Right now, this looks kind of empty because we have no components implemented yet, but we'll have this scrollable list of components and you can filter through them using the categories I've mentioned earlier. Each component will have a demo scene where you can see it in action, see what it does and how it works. This is available on my itch page. Also, there was a couple requests with my other courses for a text-based version, which would be super hard to make for a long course like the Slay the Spire course or the Auto Battler course, but for these isolated one-thing component tutorials, it's not that hard. So I decided to create a simple website where you can find the whole component course in text-based version as well. So if we go to text-based tutorials and 50 components course, you'll see that we have all the information that I'm talking about right now in this website as well. There is a link to go to the current component list where you can see all the different specific components implemented. But since we have no components implemented yet, this list is now empty. Again, link will be in the description. And finally, kind of as a teaser, just to show you that I've been working on some stuff, this is what it will look like in action. Those are the components that I've kind of finished already as a preparation for the future videos. For example, if we select the Flip Sprite 2D component and click on See It in Action, you'll see that we get this nice looking small demo scene. And what this component does is it takes a direction vector and flips a sprite or an animated sprite towards that direction. This can be done on the vertical, the horizontal axis, or both. Right now it's disabled and the direction in this demo is set to the mouse's current position. So if we enable the component, you can see the vertical flipping on the left hand side. You can see the horizontal flipping with the B. And you can see it working in both directions with the slime thingy. So that does it for the introduction part of this course, and I'll see you when we make the first component. Bye bye.